All set there, Lauren?
I believe so.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, November 14th, 2024, 9 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Board of Harbor Commissioners for the Town of LaPointe to order. With us this morning, we have Jay Wiltz. Here. Susan Widmer.
Here.
Michael Collins.
Here.
Lynn Carlson.
Here.
Myself, Zach Montang. Absent is Evan Erickson. We have staff present, Katie Kisner, CAO, and Secretary Lauren Berteau. We're also joined by Lee Baker on Zoom, and Paul Brummer is in attendance for the public. With that, I will open the floor to public comment.
Two things. Number one, school week for 8:15 or 8:30 special vote for Pearl Plain to be available as we continue into the heating season. And number two, at Tuesday meeting, and Glenn Warren can attest to this, Sam Dobson gave a presentation on the Island Collaborative, how it's the best thing since the good Lord invented sex and sliced bread. It should be noted that Sue Brenna wanted to have these Island Collaborative meetings after 5 p.m. so people could attend from the general public. It asked the same thing be done to the Harbor Commission.
On that note, Evan Erickson had a public comment as well, requesting a time and meeting change either to later in the day or starting at 8 a.m. rather than 9. We can discuss that when we get down to the future meeting times. And we did receive a public comment through the town website from Elizabeth Ellis, which I'll read now. She states that Tuesday, November 5th, there was no passenger van on the MV Bayfield. Captain Steve said they couldn't find the keys. Wednesday, November 6th, there was no passenger van. I asked Captain Steve if they found the keys for the van because there was no van in deck. Steve apologized and replied, they found the keys but started talking politics and forgot to get the van. Day 2 of no van in deck for paying passengers. Please address the list issue. The Bayfield passenger sitting area is not comfortable nor accommodating for all the people and students needing to sit in a small space. Where is the LaPointe, the new boat built to accommodate more people? Please read aloud and put on file at the next Harbor Commission meeting. Find a resolve to this continuous problem. And if there's no other public comment, we could move on to Harbor Commission newsletter update with Lee.
Thank you. I'm happy to report that Lauren and Alex in between dealing with budgets and elections and all sorts of exciting things. They are working on getting me access to just the Harbor Commission website. So setting it all up so that I can then start populating that. So they've been doing background work and so forth to get me as an admin. So that's really all I have to report is that we're moving along and they're getting admin access for me. So that's it. That's my big report today.
Great. Look forward to see what you come up with.
So do I. Thanks. And if it's okay with you all, I think I'll sign off because I don't, unless you want me to continue to attend. It's up to you all.
Entirely up to you, Lee. If you have other things to do, that's fine.
I do. I have to make a birthday cake for my son. So
There you go.
thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. And Lauren, I'll just get the info from you about the next meeting. I have it on my calendar for 2 weeks from now, but we'll wait and see.
Sounds great, Lee. I'll
Good.
give you an
Thank
update
you.
after the meeting.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the minutes from the Thursday, October 31st meeting. I'll second that. There's no discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to Chief Administrative Officer report.
I have the current balances of the Harbor Commission bank accounts, and that was as of Tuesday, the 12th. Our November revenue as of the 12th was just under $56,000, which is roughly just under 31% of the budgeted income for the month. Just an update on where we're at in our budget. We do kind of have a timeline now of goals as to when to have this finished. Ideally, and this is to have like the Harbor Commission's version of the budget finalized by December 2nd, because that is when Robin returns. And she is aware that as soon as she have a great vacation, but as soon as she returns, we will be meeting pretty much right away to start discussing, kind of working with them on agreeing upon what the budget should be. And I told her that I would like to have that finalized by mid-December.
With the target of that town board meeting. on
Yes,
December-
yeah.
Whatever it is, 13th or something like that.
Is that the second one is the
I
13th?
totally pulled that date out of my
Okay.
ear.
Well, I know the first was like this, the 6th, maybe, or I can look into it, but yes, by the second town board meeting.
Well, date will be changed.
Was it-
Because it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be the, by that one. Biffle did send 3 employees to attend the Workboat Show in New Orleans, this week. They're on their way back today. I've attached a copy of the kind of updated again, finalized version of the Miffle travel document that we come up with. And they are filling it out. They're actually filling it out for like everything, like the drive to Fraser to check on. Like the Madeline, when it was being worked on. That's how they did like their mileage reimbursement and things like that. However, it is only being submitted with the expenses. So I just received October expenses yesterday. And there's a couple of them in there. So it is being filled out and it does list out like their per diems. I know that like the checks for, I think that they're issuing the per diem for food and whatnot, like in advance to each employee. I'm not sure if we want any sort of like update or report essentially from a trip like that I didn't go to. Because I was able to kind of give an update on the PBA.
I think it would be interesting to find out what they learned at the boat show and
Yeah,
help show its importance to operations.
and that's kind of a big thing of the travel document is it is all through like Miffle management. Does take out the part where it actually came to the town and to the Harbor Commission to sign off on prior.
So they're actually getting those filed before they leave for the trip?
They are starting it, but it's just, they like will fill it. It's kind of how I did did the expected expenses and then I did like the expenses once I returned. But it's only going to Miffle management. It's never coming to the Harbor Commission until it's submitted with the reimbursement. So
So I think that's a good first step, so we can see what was spent and where it's going. But I think the next step would be that after approved by Cal and Robin, the trip gets approved, then it needs to be approved by the Harbor Commission or the town board. Just like all the other departments. I mean, that's how I would see it should work.
yeah, and I don't see why it can't get to that point. Like they have the document how they want it now. They just get that document to us with the expected expenses and everything prior.
And then it won't have to be really approved as much as long as once we establish a travel budget in next year's budget, and then as long as we're staying within the budget, then we won't have anything to comment on about it much.
Yeah.
Other than it's being done and here's how much we spent.
Next thing is, Miffle just wanted to verify that it's something that they did last year as well. And I told Robin that I'm assuming that it falls under what we've done in the past still applies for 2024, but she did just want confirmation. They were offering a free one-way passenger ticket to those who made a purchase at the Holiday Boutique. It's just a return ticket and they can collect it at the museum. If they show their receipt, they would get it at the museum. Mary said that they had, I think, less than 30 last year that they handed out. She just wanted confirmation that,
I'm fine with it.
yeah, okay, I said I'd bring it up
I mean, it's part of we did it.
last year, yeah.
Yeah, so no promises for next year.
Yeah. They believe that they have like the ticketing system where they need it to be to start everything with the students going, when starting the contract with the school. They are still working on kind of the write-up for the crew. They want to have kind of a basic instructions for the crew, as well as I did include a draft of the letter that they would like to send out to the parents to sign. They do want to add a start date to that letter, so that everybody is on the same page as to when this will start and when to have paperwork returned by. Cal has already ordered cards.
Not gonna use the pink passenger cards like Robin had proposed.
It was, I think, Cal and Katie Bookey had, were on the same page that it needed to be separate from like any sort of mag card or anything else that they had. So he has, one's ordered for chaperones and one's ordered for students. They look really nice. And then Lauren and I are still going to look into the lanyards. I just need to confirm with Cal that what he ordered is actually just
Size-wise.
our size.
I've read through the letter. I don't see any problems with it. I would say that we can go ahead and send it. And if whatever timeline works for them as far as enforcement, December 1st is coming up. It seems like a natural date, but we'll leave that in their hands.
Yeah. And then there was a situation, I don't know if it was last week, it was recently. A Bayfield student was coming over to meet with the Island student, Island family, and was under the impression it was a lot of miscommunication, and I don't think that this really is they just wanted to confirm that a students plus one needs to be with the Island student.
Who do they think it's with?
Well, the Island student was on the island and the Bayfield student was coming to meet them.
Okay.
And this was not at the standard, like, or
Riding-
after school
Riding
time.
together.
So if it's not at that time, they just wanted to confirm that.
It's kind of a buddy pass deal.
Yeah, there has to be timeframes and I
Yeah.
think maybe a buddy with you. Otherwise, there's no way to
There's no way to manage
monitor
that.
who's
Yeah.
coming.
I could see possibly like the return trip to the mainland. You're not gonna expect the student to leave on the last boat. If
Yeah.
they can't come back to.
So they'll get a round trip. If they're with the student,
Yeah.
with an island student, they'll get a round trip.
Okay, yeah.
But if
That
they're
makes
coming on their own because the island student's already here.
They're gonna have to pay. It's
And
just-
I think, yeah, I just think
Yeah,
that
it is.
that's just part of the communication. Once we start all of this, it just needs to be
Yeah.
all written down and
Gotta meet the
And-
criterias.
it's just gonna be one of those things that like different like scenarios are gonna continue to come up. And we just make a plan for it.
Well, yeah,
There's no
man.
way to plan for all of them
I'll
right now.
throw this out now, and that was the airline deal was that if you had a employee pass, or in this case, a student pass, you would get 3 buddy passes that you could give to somebody or anybody. And as long as you're traveling through the same stops, then they were considered valid.
Mhm.
And they usually were round trip, but they didn't have to be.
Well, I will let the Miffle office know that that buddy, that +1 that is referred to in the contract
Right.
is, or is going to be with the cards.
I don't think we mentioned a +1 in the contract.
I
did we?
don't,
I don't think, I think we just discussed it with the cards.
I could see encouraging it. Michael, did you have something?
Yeah, I just had a question about who is going to be assembling the rules of the road that you're just talking about right now. Where will it be? Who will write it, and where will it be sent? So that everyone on both the island and Bayfield know the ground rules. Is there a
Al-
communications device there?
I don't know if you saw the attachments to the email for the meeting, but this initial
No, I
letter
haven't.
was drafted by Cal. It's being sent out to all families of island resident students, explaining
Oh, I see.
the process of the card and the
rules of the road.
expectations.
Yeah.
This other issue is not really included in that. It's just more of a, I guess, development.
Yeah, it happened recently and they just want to all be on the same page as to what they should do.
Right.
But again, we'll leave
Good.
it to Cal to manage the communications. And Robin.
Good. Good.
And they should probably, I would suggest they should contact and communicate this with the school as well.
And I will offer to Miffle if they would like for me to assist in any way with communicating with the school what their kind of instructions are.
Mhm.
I'm happy to do that.
Good. Thank you.
The last thing that I had was just an update with the switch from the Progressive to the new, car insurance. Apparently, and this was not brought up at the time, there was a 35-day cancellation notice in our previous contract with Progressive. And then they also did not backdate it to the date that we were told that it could be backdated to. So essentially that's like 2 months, more months of insurance that we are paying for. But Robin is trying to work with Kyle and Jesse to see, because that was not brought up at the time, that we were told not to cancel the Progressive
Right.
until we were sure on the West Bend Mutual. So she's working with them to see what they can help with. Oh, and then one thing that was not on my report in regards to Elizabeth Ellis's comment. I did talk to Miffle about it. They're gonna try something different and putting the van on potentially like in that gap before the 7 PM ferry that they have. So that's just on there. Because mornings do get hectic and it's not never intentional, but it just gets forgotten in the morning. So they're gonna, because they've made the announcement, they have it written on their board. It's just, it gets forgotten sometimes.
I suppose there may or may not be room for it too, depending on what kind of
Yeah,
traffic for
Yeah.
that first boat coming over.
That happened the first time they started.
yeah. So they're gonna do their best and try to switch that up and see if that helps. And that's all.
Well, if you don't have anything else, I will move that we put Chief Administrative Officer's report on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Next up, we have the EPA grant update. And it's kind of out there already, but we received official notice, unfortunately, on October 18th that we were not selected for a grant award. I believe Cal may have already gone through with a follow-up critique of the application submittal, similar to what we did with the RAISE grant. I was kind of hoping one of us could sit in on that, but happened a little quicker than anticipated.
But she's happy to share an update on that next meeting.
That would
He's
be great.
preparing a report. no one has anything else there. Move on to number 8 and officially announce the resignation of Commissioner Pete Ross. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him for all the work and time that he put into this commission. And I think we have some great bylaws which he drafted.
We need to officially accept it.
Oh, I guess I'll make a motion that we accept his letter of resignation.
I'll second
I'll
that.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Technically, he still is on the roster until the town
He's replaced.
a replacement. So for, I don't know that it would really matter for one less person, but, he'll still be counted as having 7 for purposes of.
So he'll be marked absent in the minutes for this meeting and future ones until we have a replacement. Review of the Miffle Management Agreement contract. Approval of bills, sorry. We have a couple of vouchers here. First is payroll reimbursement to Miffle in the amount of $70,279.03. And the second one is travel reimbursement for Katie's trip to the PVA in the amount of $1,226.27. And I will move that we approve the bills as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Should we move Miffle management contract to the end? I'll move that we move agenda item 10 to after agenda item 13.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Future agenda items.
An update from Kyle about the EPA grant.
And I'll also let him know that we would just like to hear about the workboat show.
Yeah. Depending on when we meet, we'll have to revisit the budget, but I don't know if it'll be quite next meeting or not.
Maybe an update from Lee.
Update from Lee, yep. Anybody got anything else they wanna? We should schedule a meeting with the chamber
Yeah.
to discuss expectations for advertising budget for next year.
Yeah.
Should we have Katie reach out to
Yeah.
Sharon?
Katie, do you know Sharon?
I do not, but I'm happy to meet her.
All right. Why don't I give her a call and ask her to work out a time for with you? So at least that'll broker an introduction.
And
'Cause
then I
you'll be
don't know.
dealing with her. You'll be dealing with her in the future.
Okay, yeah, feel free to give her both my Harbor Commission email and my cell phone.
Will do.
And then I guess depending on what the outcome is of your meeting, we'll decide whether we have her join us at a regular scheduled meeting or something less formal. Food for thought. Meeting dates?
Let's see, got how many holidays?
2 weeks from today is Thanksgiving.
We try to meet them before.
For the fifth. Hey,
I do have October expenses, so just get them ready in advance. So they would be ready next week.
Why don't we meet next week on the 21st?
Sounds
And
good.
we can go 2 weeks.
Yeah.
After that.
you guys time?
I'm reluctant to change. This really works well for me. 9 o'clock, I can do my rounds. Come to the meeting, go get into a project without having to get cleaned up, show back up here. But I'm open. We could go 8 o'clock if to accommodate Evan as he requested, but
Like 9 o'clock too. I mean, at this point, and maybe we can start once we get things kind of on a regular basis, potentially even have, you know, one meeting a month in the. later in the-
evening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The high-speed rail comes in, you can meet at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So next Thursday at 9. And then public comment, number 2.
Yeah, a couple of things. Disappointed and not unexpected that you're not gonna have a meeting at 4:30, but democracies are like parachutes, they only work if they're open. Also, when it comes to budgeting for chamber next year, I'd say the amount should be 0. You're getting enough people here, the chamber's doing enough advertising, we're swamped already in the summertime. People discover the island, guys. Just mentioning a taxpayer and co-owner of the area, or whatever that.
Thanks, Paul.
I have a couple. It's just updates. The town board on Tuesday night did approve the emergency repair fund for the Harbor Commission of the 500,000. And they also approved giving Greg Nelson that easement on the Middle Road property at 0 charge, other than if there are any filing fees.
Great. Do you, this emergency fund, should this play into the budget as a separate line item of money? Or does it?
Well, I mean, it's a reserve.
Right, it's in one of the accounts already.
It's in the CD.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I mean, it is the CD.
Right.
I have $500,000 CD that I think now comes due in January sometime. I think towards the end of January. And so when it renews, we just probably want to, you know, retitle it so that it says emergency fund instead of whatever it says right now.
I don't think we have anything for it on there, other than it shows up in the revenues because that's where it came from.
The CD.
No, I'm writing down to us.
Okay.
Are you guys done?
Yeah.
I have a public comment. Jackie came up to me last night and asked me about the travel policy and the cards and everything. She had got a little bit of misinformation. And so I tried to correct her on things she had misheard or been misinformed about. And then she also was curious about how to attend, how to access, how to watch the meetings, everything. So I directed her down that path, but maybe if we could put out an update somewhere, letting people know our plans for the page and then how to contact us, how to email us if you have concerns or whatever, so people know. Because she was directly concerned about what, as the chaperone, what rules we were making. And so.
Is she familiar with kind of what the plan is for the chaperones?
I try to bring her up to date and, you know, tell her that this is as I understand it. And this letter I hadn't read this letter yet. So hopefully we can pass this on to her and she'll be eased that like, this is not going to put any undue burden on her.
It actually relieves her of a little bit.
That's what I was trying to tell her. It's like, that's what we've been focusing on, making sure that she's not burdened by this. And
Right.
Yeah, it's actually less.
she had heard the opposite. So,
At one point, you know, there was the idea of the chaperone being the last to board
right.
and, you know, basically writing down all the names and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But that idea of just having the students and the chaperones, and if there are teachers, I guess they're going to get the chaperone card as well.
Yep.
And yeah, so they're just gonna, the ticket taker is gonna just collect these cards from everyone and count them and give them to the Coast Guard, the number to the Coast Guard as part of the, you know, how many people are on.
That's how I explained it to her. So
Yeah.
she had just been, you know, told something different and was worried and, you know, just wanted to know how do I get involved in this conversation? So tried to direct her.
I think she'll be happy with.
I think so too. I told her that. I said, I think that this is for you and we put a lot of work.
She just has
You
to-
had put a lot of work into it, I said.
She'll have to pass out the cards back to the kids.
Yeah.
On the bus or wherever.
Right.
You know, but that shouldn't be too hard.
No.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
If that's it for public comment, then let's go into the review of the Miffle management contract. And I will move that we go into closed session under state statute 19.5, paren 1E, for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified business. Do a roll call vote for this. Jay Welts. Aye.
Yes.
Michael Collins.
Aye.
Susan.
I
I'm an aye.
Aye.
All right, we're now in closed session.
Stop the live stream.